Good day. Today I will be presenting on the topic addressing the cost of living in Malaysians, the role of progressive wage model, and the Pupils Income Initiative. So this issue is particularly relevant as many Malaysians, especially from the B40 and M40 groups, they are feeling the squeeze of inflation, stagnant wage, and economic insecurity. So this presentation, I will be explore the root cause of Malaysians' cost of living challenge, how the government is responding through the progressive wage models and the pupil income initiative, and whether these reforms are enough to build a more equitable economy under the Madani framework. So, Malaysia has achieved significant development since independence and has reduced poverty on a national scale. However, in recent years, the rising of cost of living has become a major concern. So this is affecting households across income groups, especially those earning just enough to survive. So this is reflect in the public sentiment captured by the phrase of gaji cukup makan. So it refers to a growing number of Malaysians who are employed full-time yet unable to save or invest or improve their standard of living. So let's begin with the core issues, which is the cost of living. So many Malaysians households face increased expense in housing, food, transportation, healthcare, and education, and also many more. However, wage growth has not kept pace with inflation. So in 2022, the median salary was only 2,600, while studies suggest that an urban family or four needs at least 4,000 per month to live decently. So even with full-time jobs, many people cannot afford basic needs, let alone save. This mismatch between income and expenditure has created what we call working poverty. So the cost of living issues actually is no longer just about inflation. It is a structural problem tied to low productivity, lack of job quality, and informal employment. So this situation actually is worse in cities where rent, childcare, and food price are become more higher. As such, piecemeal subsidies are no longer enough. What we need are long-term structure reform like PWM and IPR. So the progressive wage model is actually a strategic interventions to improve wage for formal sector workers, particularly those in low-paying jobs. So instead of increasing the minimum wage across the board, PWMs will link the salary increase to skill development and productivity. So this model actually is voluntary and industry driven, where companies commit to structure wage ladders. So for example, like a worker who complete a skill course or attain certificate can move from 1,800 to 2,200 salary, even eventually to 2,800 or more. The government provides an incentive and matching the grants to encourage the company to participate. So this model actually has been tested successfully in the country like Singapore. However, there are limitations. Many SMEs are reluctant to join due to cost concern, and PWM may not reach informed or gig workers. So still, PWM represents an important cultural shift from cheap labor to a dignified or skilled employment. So while PWM target formal employees, the Pupil Income Initiative focus on those outside the formal economy. This is include the unemployed, retired, homemakers, and gig workers. So it empowers vulnerable Malaysians to earn income through the entrepreneurship and digital platform. So there are three components that we can see here, which is IPR agriculture, which is for urban farming, hydroponic, and local food productions. The second one is the IPR food entrepreneur, which is for micro business like home-based food vendors. And then for IPR digitals, opportunities in e-commerce, content creator, and digital service. So what's make IPR promise it that participant can start earning income in ways. Moreover, it promotes self-reliance and dignity by helping people generate their own livelihoods. However, challenge of course will be remain, especially in digital literacy, market access, and local support. So some micro enterprise may not be sustainable in the long run without the mentorship, financing, and infrastructure. Let's compare these two models, which is PWM and IPR. So for target group, for PWM is low wage formal workers and IPR is informal and exclude groups. And then for the focus, PWM focus more on long-term wage growth and IPR focus more on immediate income generations. So its approach skill-linked salary ladder for PWM and micro enterprise and digital work for IPR. And then the impact of PWM is can promote productivity and job quality. And then for the IPR, we built a household resilience. And then the challenge for both, which is PWM is SME participates, and IPR is sustainability, which is and digital divide. And then together, these PWM and IPR can address the Malaysians' dual income trap, which is PWM will ensure that employed workers don't get stuck in low wage jobs, while IPR helps the unemployed or underemployed earn the transition into the digital economies. So the last one is policy implementation and recommendations. So to enhance the effectiveness of PWM and IPR, several policy improvements are needed. So expand PWM coverage to include gig workers and semi-formal sector like food delivery, retail and tourism. And then we can invest in TVET, which is technical and vocational education and training, and micro credentials so workers can upskill via online or mobile platform. And then improve the digital infrastructure, especially in rural area, to make IPR accessible to all. And then we can integrate PWM and IPR with social protection system like SOCSO, EPF, and My Future Jobs. So simplify digital onboarding, including digital ID and mobile wallets to help informal workers participate in e-commerce. And the last one is strength federal, state, local coordinations, especially for community, agriculture, or digital entrepreneurship program. So these steps is aligned with the Madani Economic's core value, which is dignity, equity, empowerment, and sustainability. In conclusions, Malaysians' cost of living is not just about high price, it is about systemic inequality. There is underemployment and stagnant wage. There are short-term cash hangout may ease symptoms, but they do not address the root cause. So the progressive wage model and the pupil income initiative are meaningful policy innovation that can seek to rebalance for our economies. So PWM focus on structure which growth linked to the skills, and the IPR empower people to generate income independently. So both models represent a shift from welfare to the empowerment, from dependency to a dignity. However, their success depends on the strong implementations, inclusive design, and continuous supports. So, if we get it right, PWM and IPR can transform the Gaji Cukup Makan narrative into the one of the economic mobility, security, and shared prosperity in line with the aspirations of the Madani nations. So I think that's all from me. Thank you.